my third guy plays some games.
Alright, hi all, Weather Guy here, and we are beginning a new game today. We are doing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. No, I have never played one of these. I'm excited. All I've seen is the memes, right? The objections, the things where they replace the text that comes across the bottom, they replace it with some famous argument or something from the internet that's silly, you know? So I'm excited for this. I love solving mysteries and things, and I think this is going to involve a lot of that. And yeah, and I looked up, this is going to be a 66-hour playthrough, it looks like. So it's going to take a better part of 4 months. We'll see. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let's get started. So if I understand correctly, this has multiple adventures in it or something? I think it's a two-part. There it is. So there's Resolve, Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, and then there's Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Okay. So we go to Select Adventure, and then we go New Game. I think that's what we need to do.
The Empire of Japan. After opening its doors, a push for cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation. The revolution washed over the land, making life in the capital exciting and unsettling. It was a period of great change.
I didn't realize it was so cinematic.
Was swept away by the tide.
Oh, somebody died. Guy got shot?
But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
We have the gun in our hands? That's us, right? That looks like us. I'm assuming that's going to be us. He looked really shocked. Episode 1, The Adventure of the Great Departure. Okay. 22nd November, 8:43 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Defendants Antechamber 3. 5. Off to a great start, y'all. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the doors to this quiet little chamber is the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my fate? Orange. Bailiff. What? Oh no, nothing. Savior glares. Murderer. Sorry. So we're under suspicion of murder. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. That's the only time I'm going to try to read the name. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yume University. By the way, apologies ahead of time if I mispronounce Japanese words. I'm not fluent, not even close to competent. I've never particularly watched much anime or anything like that. So I'm going to be a little slow on some of these potentially. I'm going to try my best though. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying accident. And now here I am, awaiting my trial. That's enough. Oh, that's where the... So, the guy on the right. I've had this game for a couple of years now, I just haven't played it. So, I've had the guy on the right's picture as my Steam profile photo thing forever. I didn't realize that this is what it's from. It's not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. And who are you? I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Dude, this is the sickest lawyer ever. And until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you will hold your tongue. Test technicalities. Look at you. You haven't even graduated yet. So he's a lawyer student. And yet I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. Right? Ryu? I'm just gonna call him Ryu. That's a lot easier. Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. So our guy has big nervous energy. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, I suppose that wasn't my fault. But really, Kazuma, the guy's name's Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this, I'm sorry. Ha 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 ha, there you go again apologizing, just like always. Though I must say, you've been all over the newspapers these past few days. Yume University professor murdered in cold blood by a student. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I could never murder someone. And there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up, hold your head high. You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryu. Ooh. Kasuma Sogi, my best friend, also in his second year at Yume University. So they're... okay, classmates. But he's far more clever than I, a star student in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer, impressive considering he's still an undergraduate. It's not that impressive. I love that that was presented to us as like an inner monologue, but then Kazuma heard it. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old, here in Japan anyway. My qualifications don't mean much. You said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. Oh, that was Ryu's talking. You said the exact same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. 3 days ago. Yes, that's when all this started. Oh. Congratulations, Kazuma. It looks like you're going to get to study abroad at last. I know, I've been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world? I'm really happy for you and proud as your friend. It's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. I want to bring about change in our legal system. That's why I had to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Oh, that was Ryu talking. Oh, I wish we got picture changes too, because I'm not always looking at the name. Then come with me. We have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. Only it were that simple. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. Alright, see you later, Kazuma. What a bro. It was straight after that. That's when it happened. Asogi, may I have a word? Well, there's an older gentleman. Or is the girl talking? Professor, I didn't know you were coming. Well, this case has personal significance to me. But never mind that for now. Asogi, you should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To His Excellency's chambers? Why? He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result. Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at university before. I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. Alright then, Ryu. I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes, thanks, Kazuma. Fantastic. Gosh, I'm gonna have to talk so much in this game, aren't I? This is awkward silence, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, this is awkward. If I may... Yes, sorry? You must be the defendant. Ryunosuke, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Eugene Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yuma University. Ah, Professor Mikotoba. I've heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad. Soge has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. As such, I feel you should know. Know what? Well, as you've no doubt heard, Soge has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial... Oh, there's stakes here, aren't there? Besides our guilty to murder. I'm afraid that permission will be revoked and never granted again. I love this. The reason why I love this is that it's adding such unnecessary stakes when the stakes are already so high. It's like, not only will I go to prison for life, you won't get to go to Great Britain. You know what I mean? It's like, they're clearly on different levels of stress, right? Of severity. And usually when you have a case of different levels of severity with consequences, you're presented with the most severe consequences last, right? Because that's what escalates the conflict, that's what makes things more engaging, that's what drives things forward, that's what causes characters to commit to doing things that they necessarily wouldn't do before if they realize that the consequences are more severe if they don't act, right? But this does the opposite. Consequences are sky high for our dude, right? It's guilty of murder, which is years and years in prison, presumably. But not only that, you won't get to go to Great Britain. Okay. I'm afraid that permission will be revoked and never granted again. What? Nonsense. As I suspected, you were unaware of this. I had a feeling Asogi may have chosen not to tell you. Yeah, we wouldn't want to put extra pressure on this. He's agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, dreams will be shattered? But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing? The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances. I don't believe it. But I didn't do it, I swear it. I'm not a murderer. I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving your innocence will be no easy task. You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial. Sorry? What do you mean? Dude, the music is so good. Listen to it slightly elevate. So good. You'll soon understand once proceedings get underway. But then what should I do? Well, naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. Right, so as soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do. I do? But what will the question be? Surely not, do you accept the accusations brought before you? Of course not. Defendant. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. Oh gosh, this is going to be a little comical, isn't it? It would seem our surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. So allow me to summarize. Kazuma Asoge must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as a defendant, final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? That's not how that works, is it? Get moving, there's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway. These twins are brutal. This is it. The trial goes badly. Kazuma's dreams of studying your priorities are so fucking twisted, Ryu. And what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, and with continuous zoom in. How far will the zoom go? We don't know. I embarked on that unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence. The trial that would decide my destiny. Jail or not jail? 22nd November, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom 2 now. We're so nervous. Look at this dude. So this is a courtroom. Oh, this is sick. The Supreme Court of Judicature. No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. The powers that be had demanded that this be a secret trial. Secret trial? Trial that's closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It'll become clear in time, but for now, you need to concentrate, Ryu. It's about to begin. That's the judge, right? Yeah. The court will now hear the trial of Ryu. The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency. As is the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. That's correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself. Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I am obliged to ask for final confirmation now. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial? I do. This is the point where we say I do, right? Yeah. This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then, if I say I do, I'm going to defend myself. I need to answer quickly. What should I do? Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear who will advocate. Nervous eyes, always nervous eyes with Ryu. I love this already. What is the meaning of this unruly outburst? I would like to inform the court that I, Ryu, will be defending myself. You'll be... What? What are you playing at, Ryu? Professor Mikitoba told me everything just now before the trial. He did what? He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose, so I'm going to risk everything by defending myself. How sad. Means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off. Phrasing, buddy. No, it's not that, really. It's just that, well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you... Yes, I knew that's how you'd feel, which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikitoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Dude, that mallet made the smallest little noise. You think it would make like a boom or something, but it was like, it was a little click. It was like someone opening a Pez dispenser, dude. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial. Well, well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel, really?
Objection!
Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident he can speak for himself, as I speak for him now. Isn't that so, buddy? Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. Look at my eyes. Look how exhausted I look. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered. Well, for a mere university student to be brought here before the Supreme Court, you must have perpetrated a most heinous crime indeed. As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo? Yes, Your Excellency. It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken. My competence? What does that mean? This is the tutorial section of the game, where I will make sure that you know how to play it. It's questioning your ability to do the job. Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am. So, let's start with the very simplest of questions. Yes. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I care to remember. But, wait. I'm so nervous I can't even remember that. What was it again? Dude, this is so relatable. Ryu. Let me guess. Your mind's gone blank? You know me so well. All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court's record. But I can't even find that. Press the Y button. Okay. It's simple. You can access the court record with the press of RB. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. I just have to press RB for the court record. Alright, there's no time to lose. Boom. This is a list of evidence you've collected. Now try switching to people instead with RB. You'll find details about the victim in here. When you're done, press B to go back. So remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record. Now you'd better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Find the victim in the people section of the court record, then press Y to present. Try it now. Here's our boys. Dude, the victim is just a normal looking dude named John Wilson. Hilarious. The victim in this case, he was a visiting professor of medicine at Yume University from the British Empire.
Yes!
Got the information. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university. Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England, invited to Yume University 3 years ago. Very good. Indeed, which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally, and as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. Can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. I've not heard of it. And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yume University, are you not? I love these different gestures that they do. Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education, have you no honor? But I didn't do it. This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. Dude, when he turns and looks at you like that, oh man. Like, he does the, And that's coming from a straight dude too. He really hits you with the turn. And you're convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities, is it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh, we're gonna see the... Let's see. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. Yep, we had this before. The British Empire. Wow. It's incredible to think. Wait. There's the victim. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still, I should go and say hello. Alright. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death. Cause of death? Well, obviously, that was... Ryu. Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. Unless you're O.J. Simpson. By evidence? But how? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select to present. Do it now. The postmortem report. Can we look at this closer? Examine. Victim John H. Wilson, male British. Time of death 19 November, shortly after 2 p.m. Is this the next day? Wow. Cause of death, single bullet fired at close range, fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. No exit wound, bullet did not pass through the body. That seems relevant.
Yes!
Well, I got a paper here and a paper here. According to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma. Learn to read, you imbecile. That's the post-mortem report, I take it? Sorry, yes, that's right. The post-mortem report. In the West, a doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. We're very old-fashioned and behind the times here. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later. This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range. That makes sense. Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. Photographic print of the victim has been entered in the court record. Okay, great. So that's a photographic print. Well, that's something I've never seen before. A photo. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail is incredible. Very well, I am satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial. Great. This guy makes me nervous. Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of the case, prosecution here calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened. This is it then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. Professor? You mean Dr. Mikatoba? Yes, clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. That doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Of course. When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Sogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband, control the cold stares first. Great. Let's play a minigame where we control our sweats. This is presumably a waiter. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Of course, my name is Satoru Hosonaga. I am the head waiter at Western-style restaurant called La Carnival. Cough with blood, interesting. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, Interesting. He's the murderer. Just totally, completely jumped to conclusions. It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really should. As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, and accidentally 3 days ago. 3 days ago is the crime. Okay. Understood. Hosonaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please. Perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We had few diners at that time of day. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and cutlery. So you didn't see it happen. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student. Hold on, let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him. I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw. You amateur. But the next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, Defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, Ryo. You'll have your chance to fight back. Great. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness. If I may confirm one point, waiter, standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today? Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? That's going to be a no. No. There was no one else around that table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around that table? What's the matter, Ryu? That's just not right. Oh, someone else was there? Oh, the music picking up. Something's happening. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello... Oh, interesting. There was a woman sitting opposite him at this table. Really? That's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Wait and see. We'll talk about it momentarily. I desperately want to say something, but I was told not to interject. Ryu, your parents tell you to study. You're the kind of man who would diligently get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I never have got into university otherwise. But you can't just always follow the rules in life, you know. If you don't say what you want to say right now, you'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty. Alright, you scared me. I won't forget that piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just going to shut my eyes and say it.
Yes!
Great. Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There's a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Objection!
Dear me. What are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Osanaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy? Oh boy. I love the pushing up the glasses. No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please, have a look if you'd like to. So that's the murderer. And we believe that the lady was sitting directly across from him at that circular table. Let me see. A sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume. That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. Click. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Well, is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. He's coughing a hell of a lot. The waiter's business card has been entered into the court record. Interesting. So there's something about this, you didn't want to give it up. So, the court has now heard a process of the case. Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant, the only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency? If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who are present at the scene of the crime. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm gonna be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual about these peculiarities. You said it, Professor Mikitova said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face. Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? Dude, Kazuma's a G. The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryo. Oh yeah. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Hiya! Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is. Oh man, this is getting spicy. I'm actually really enjoying this. Indeed. Prosecutor Ouchi, please continue with proceedings. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witnesses. Very well, officer. Bring forth the witnesses at once. I enunciated that. My inflection was totally off on that. Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Birdman. I don't know why he reminds me of a bird. Yes, sir. The Great Nippon Imperial Army's Sergeant Yesa Nosa. Reporting for duty, sir. Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Ryunosuke, a humble premises in the 2nd District, Curio Karakuta at your service. An antique dealer and a soldier, what an unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question. They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question. Always post-noon. And not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios with which I make my business. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer. Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war. It was that black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearm, sir. This man's as impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment he shot the victim dead. Yes? Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Click. Now the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Serious, sir. Standing by, ready to report, sir. That sounds like a baby. Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon. Witness testimony. What the witnesses saw. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. I was on my hands and knees, investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. So he lost some precious thing. I just looked on the floor for it. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed the final moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. What times we live in, when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day. I have a knife. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryu? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I'd said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then, when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant, when I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it, so I bent down, and just as I was picking it up, bang! Music's so good. Well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Ryu, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses. Cross-examine? Do it now. As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubts in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. Click. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice. Certainly, the testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of the... Dude, he's so great. Look how nervous. What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? I mean, the defense demands its right to cross-examination. Dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki head band boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic. Huh? How did he know? Click. The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Kazuma is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, this is where the battle really begins, Ryu. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Here, we'll tutorialize it. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means what that soldier said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it. And the key to doing that is in evidence. Right, evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now, let's go, Ryu. Don't let them beat you. Alright then. It's all or nothing. So we had to figure some stuff out. Cross-examination time. What the witnesses saw? I was adjusting regular... I'm not going to have to reread this because we already saw it. So the guy on the left said he was... Let's read this again. Eating steak while talking to the old man. Old man was talking about his curio. Okay, so let's... Yep. And then that's when the firearm was discharged. Yep. And from the back. Oh, that's interesting. That's where the mistake is. That's where the mistake is, because we saw the picture. The guy was shot from the front. This guy was on the floor. He didn't see anything. Come on, this is so easy, Ryu. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. Listen, Ryu. We know there are lies lurking in these statements. It's time to expose them. I understand that. The question is, how? Like I said before, the key to this is using evidence that you've collected. You can examine and present evidence while a witness is giving testimony by pressing RB. Go through each witness statement and the details about each piece of evidence and compare all the facts. Somewhere in there you'll find something that doesn't add up. In other words, an inconsistency. inconsistency. When you find a statement and a piece of evidence that seems to contradict each other, present your evidence with why and rip the witness apart. Just be careful, because if you assert a contradiction that has no basis, you'll be given a penalty. If you're dealt too many penalties, the defense's case will fall apart and you'll receive a guilty verdict, and then you'll have to reload your save. So that's it. Peruse the evidence in the court record. Find an inconsistency with the witness's statement. Alright, I'll give it a try. You can hear the witness's statements over and over again as many times as you like. So keep your head and be measured in your attack. Good luck, partner. Alright. So, I'm going to go ahead and look at this evidence some more. Because we didn't look at the back of the business card anymore. So, oh, you can zoom in. So, it said something. Kitchen is to the left, entrance is right there. Okay. So, can we flip it? Can we flip it? Can we do anything to flip this thing? I mean, I guess it probably doesn't matter. But he was so nervous about it, I want to flip it. Huh. Alright, so let's go back. We have to get to the part where he talks about shooting in the back. Yep, right here. This is where you present. So you press Y.
Yes.
Ah! He's sweating. Look at him. He's nervous. We did something. Everybody's waiting to see what we did. What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting some photographic print in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here. Just what nonsense. What can this print possibly tell us that we don't already know? Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. Oof. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom. This is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. Spell it out would be an insult to the court. Zuma, what? What are you talking about? It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense. By the way, another interesting thing about this photograph before we move on is that he's seated facing away from the table, it looks like, which is odd. But there's a clear discrepancy here with a sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant Ayasanosa? Yes, sir. What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian in front of the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes.
But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because... Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? Oh, there's the baby behind him, look. What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again? Certainly, there is a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? He is sweating. Yes, sir, at this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir. What? The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. The witness, Sergeant Yosunosa, did not see the defendant firing the gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. Burned, dude. Absolutely destroyed. Look at Ryu over there. He's like, oh, did he just say that? Did he just burn Ouchie that bad? Flipped it on him. Yeah! There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney, roll credits, is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, he was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back. But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either. Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Treasure? Indeed, the Hori Koban, my prized coin. On each occasion when I visit that restaurant, it is my habitude to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest for my shot, Azute. In the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you? On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I offered my OA treasure. Believed that he would purchase such a rare find I did not, but I was presented with little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished. The Koban vanished. Hunting around under the table, I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there, and then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded OA treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamentable day, the precious Hoe Koban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive, no matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British. It would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Ouchie? Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make. Explain. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there was only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. Click. The equally despicable defendant Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? Why are you surprised, Ryo? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as Kuroko glass, Your Excellency. Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Ido. It would seem those straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny. Ido Teen-shan? Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. Adorable, dude. Actually really adorable. The true culprit. This is actually where we're going to stop for today. We're just passing the hour mark. And I think I realized that for this game, I'm not going to be editing it hardly at all, right? Because everything is relevant, right? We can't just skip around. It's not like the Final Fantasy VII playthrough where we could skip field fights, things like this. This is all very relevant stuff. So it's going to be uncut, full through, me killing my voice for an hour, I guess, every time. But I'm having a lot of fun with this. If you're new here, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, especially if you stuck around the whole hour. That's really impressive. And I appreciate it. We're going to have new videos of this 3 times a week. That's going to be Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And we're going to continue until we complete all the adventures that are in these chronicles. But I think it's just 2, right? I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I have new videos every day. Every single day. And I know when this video comes out, it will be not too long after the election for this year. I'm not going to speak on anything about it because I'm in the past. I don't know what's going to happen with the election. It's October for me. But I hope you're doing well, right? I hope everything's going well with everything in your life. And make sure you take care of yourself and make sure you take care of others. And I will see you next time. Peace out.